to the Horror Hangout podcast for free bit of film fans watch the best and worst horror movies of all time. My name is Luke Condor with a K, and I'm joined by my regular co-host,
Mr. Ben Errington.
And Mr.
Andy Conduit Turner. Hello, everybody. We're back again, the whole gang.
What episode number is this?
228.
Jesus Christ.
228.
So many episodes. That's insane. This is the longest running podcast ever, right?
There are more episodes of Horror Hangout now than The Simpsons, than EastEnders, than what else? Emmerdale, all combined.
Okay, that's good. That's good.
Yeah,
it's good to be on. Good to be on top of this, isn't it? But I listened back while we were away last week. Ben, you and John did a lovely job.
Oh yeah,
thanks, John.
Thanks, John. It was a lovely episode. Great to catch up with him. Great to chat horror movies with him as well. One of the most listenable voices, even though there was mine as well. Yes, we know. In podcasting, I would say. Sorry, guys.
He's got a very listenable voice. No, Ben himself. Wear this caterwauling over here. It's,
So you two had a lovely break. Nice week off. You've been doing various different things.
Well, Andy ran a marathon.
Did. It was all right. That hard work. Wow. I was dead tired afterwards.
I was going to do it, but I thought, nah.
Last minute, you went, I'm above this. You know, I mean, I got things on. 5 hours. So respectable time, and your legs survived.
Made it through. Got round. Had a lovely little sit down on the beach in Brighton when I was finished for a little while.
I'll be honest, you looked almost too chilled at the end of it. I feel like I would have been near death, but you look like, just done a marathon, mate. It's all good.
I felt all right coming off the back of it, but then I realized that like the next day I was like, head hurts. Copped a little bit of sunburn on my forehead on the run under the baking desert sun.
No factor 50 on your speed.
No factor 50. Almost made a deadly mistake as well. When you get round, when you're in the second half, like, you know, you're approaching 20 miles and there's people very nice. They're out on the street. They got your orange slices. They got you some sweeties that you can eat there. You've got your water stations and everything. They're offering you in your gels and
hair gel.
Gels to make sure you're still looking good around there.
What you quiff out, mate? Go on, lad.
All edible things. And then you get to about 20 miles, and then the St. John's ambulance guys are there holding other little sachets out for you. And I'm like, get some of this in you. I've stopped just a bit short. I was veering towards them and like, Vaseline. Because I ain't eating Vaseline.
Slide all the way to the end.
I'm not eating Vaseline. I'm too late. It's gone down. It's in my mouth. It's in my gob. Lovely.
So did all right though. Yeah, we got round. It was a lovely time. Then went to France and did all of that good exercise by not having many meals that I didn't have with a cocktail.
In like marathons and stuff, I always feel sorry for the bottles of water. They get really abused. So as you're going around, it's like loads of bottles of water. People can pick one. They give like a quick squirt, squeeze like 1 or 2 drinks, and then they lob them. They lob like the rest of the water across the road.
I was looking at them disapprovingly because I was for my money. I don't big myself up much, but I'm a very conscientious runner. I finished all of my water when I drank it from my little cup. And I always put the cup in one of the bins.
Your big cup. Your big squash cup.
Big sippy cup.
So my big water with me just going around.
Carrying around an extra couple of kilos.
Always finish it. Always put it in the bin. Don't go throwing it on the floor. Come on.
Oh, well, someone slips.
Yeah. Well done, Andy.
And you had a lovely holiday as well, Luke?
Well, I was going to say, we'll take that as the victory for the podcast, I think, if anything.
Yeah. So this podcast has run the Horror Hangout marathon finishes.
Yeah.
We were there. We were with you in spirit. I probably woke up when you were halfway through it. So, you know.
Yeah. I didn't do that. We stayed in a little boathouse. We stayed on a house on the lake, very similar to the lake in tonight's film that we're going to be talking about. And in fact, there were times where we were sure there was like a slasher coming down the stairs through the dark, coming from the lake. it was very Friday the 13th.
Who was it? It was just a.
Just our imagination. Like it's just you can work yourself up. I think we even said, imagine if a guy was walking down the bit through the dark there, but you couldn't actually see him. And then within seconds, we creeped ourselves out. Oh God, I need to go inside.
You had a hot tub as well. Someone who could have come past and turned the hot tub up to the highest setting and cooked you both.
Hello.
Couldn't you?
Who's this? Oh, for some reason, my phone decided to Benjamin Fitton. Benjamin Fitton from They Walk Among Us has decided to.
Benjamin Button
has decided to come and join us, promoting whatever thing he was promoting at the start of last week's episode of his True Crime UK.
I'll tell you what, if you want to advertise, if you want to just advertise on our podcast against our will, then you just don't. All right?
Yeah, don't hack my phone, Ben.
Back off, for God's sake. How rude. You ask us if you could put an ad in the podcast, and we'll say no.
Unless you're any of the people we've invited to pitch, Mr. Kipling, McVitie's,
Lucas Aid,
Tizer.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's just because I live in Scotland, but a lot of the ads on my podcast at the minute are all about Iron Brew.
Oh wow!
I mean,
no, it's pronounced Iron Brew. Iron Brew.
No, you're advertising them, but they're all over it.
Have you, since you've lived in Scotland, have you drank a fair bit more Iron Brew than what you would have done?
I'd never had any before I moved here, and now quite regularly have an Iron Brew. It's lovely.
It isn't. It's one of the best fizzy drinks. It's up there with Dr. Pepper and Coke, and Fanta Fruit Twist.
Oh no, Fanta Fruit Twist. That's no.
As in no, that's well, I like it, but if you have too much, it starts to taste like chemicals.
It starts to taste like chemicals.
If I was to have a top three, probably
Chemical
Coke,
X,
Iron Brew, and then
Chemical X.
The wild card is Apple Tango for me.
Oh yeah, I do like an Apple Tango. I think Dr. Pepper's the best. Dr. Pepper is one of those drinks that if there's a cheap version of it, it's always terrible. There's literally no comparison. Dr. Pepper, what's a cheap version of it?
Professor Condiments.
Professor Condiments, Professor Spicy.
Professor Spicy.
Professor Spicy. There's a version in Aldi, I think. I can't remember what that one's called. I think that one's called Dr. Peppy. No, it's something similar to that. Professor Peppy. That's it. Professor Peppy. And it is awful.
Mr.
Sorry, Aldi.
But in brackets, because he's a surgeon, not because he's not qualified as a doctor. Mr. Paprika.
Mr. Paprika, Professor Salt, Professor Sugar. Oh yeah, Professor Peppy. It's not good. It definitely rots your insides out. Maybe normal Dr. Pepper does as well, but there we go.
So I guess we are now inviting, if any soft drinks. I know that you are the good folks at Iron Brew. I know you've been courting, huge successful, some would say, mainstream media, not true indie podcast greats like us, but your James Acasters, your Vicky Pattersons, and so on. Get some real guys to promote your thing for the underground podcast system. Yes. We'll speculate over what Iron Brew tastes like, if you like.
Yeah, we'll do it all. We're free thirsty guys.
Yeah,
free thirsty men.
You've seen the
Especially
size
Andy.
of my cup.
He ran a bloody marathon. He's dehydrated. He's like a grape. I mean, like a raisin. Get some fluids in him.
Get some bloody fluids in your system, you bastard. Okay, what have we got? Got any horror news for this week?
Yes.
Okay. Go. Have the floor.
There is a teaser trailer that's just come out for Dashcam, the new Rob Savage flick. It's very, very, very short teaser. It teases, but it teases very successfully. I am.
It is
teased.
teasy.
Yeah.
So, going to be released in theaters and on demand on June the 3rd. Might be a good idea for us to try and snag Jed Shepherd on the show again to talk about it.
Or Guy, the guy who did the special effects.
Yeah. Oh, of course.
I know he's a listener.
Maybe both of them. Sounds like a good idea. Great idea. I'm sure we'll cover the film on a main episode as well. But yeah, nice little teasy trailer. I think, as mentioned last week, it's being shown at a Dundee Film Festival.
Yeah,
which
it's on at
John is going
Dundee in a
to.
few weeks. I might go.
Dundee, that's the one. Oh, okay. That sounds good. Very, very exciting. Yeah, looking forward to it. We enjoyed Hosts, so definitely looking forward to this. And a suitable teaser trailer. I don't need to see anything else.
No.
But the synopsis is Dashcam follows an abrasive musician. How abrasive? It follows her night via live stream as it takes a dangerous turn when she agrees to help transport a frail elderly woman out of town. I mean, that's where she's gone wrong. I would go, no.
I told you about us transporting a frail woman out of town, didn't I?
You kicked an old woman out of town.
No.
Can you just take me home? I live across the road.
Get
Out of
out.
town, sure.
Genuinely, it was like that. I'd just been on a big run, and Karen had been.
Is that where your stories start now? Isn't it?
No,
I've just been on a
anymore.
marathon.
Not a marathon. It was big. It was while I was doing some training.
Oh yeah.
And Karen met me in town while I finished, bought me an iron brew, and she had to get some bits in town, and she brought the car down to the town centre. So I drove back, got myself a lovely bath to sort myself out after my run. Karen had been walking back, and then she saw this little old lady just wandering down in the driving rain, down like the middle of the main road into town from where we live. All bedraggled, driving along there, and she was knocking on people's windows at the lights to see if they would take her somewhere, and people were like, "Oh no," driving off.
Oh.
And so Karen found this old lady, and she was like, "Oh, I always go to this particular cafe in town for my I won't name her in case we can identify. No PII. I always go to this particular cafe in town for my Sunday afternoon tea, and I couldn't get a taxi today, so I've just walked it, despite being really frail and things like that. And then she got halfway down and just thought she'd knock on cars to see if people would take her. And she goes, "Well, have you got a car?"
She's never seen a horror film.
Well, not here. I haven't. And then she goes, "Oh,
Not
have
here,
you got one at home?" Yeah, so Karen phones me. I'm in the bath after the thing. She goes, "Oh, can you come downtown? I've got this." Oh, lady's actually hopped out, got in there. We've only got a smart car. And she says, "Oh, take us this place." Karen says, "Do you know where this is?" "No." So Karen goes, "Oh, I know." So we swapped out. We swapped back out. She got in and had to drive this woman who was then directing her down the wrong way, down one-way streets, took her down to this thing. Karen finally got her to this
Cafe didn't exist.
This
It closed
cafe
100 years ago.
Got it existed.
The lady
Evaporated.
disappeared. She was a ghost.
She pretty much did though. She pretty much did disappear. When she got to the door, the lady "Oh, I found my destination." I didn't say thank you or bye or anything. It was just "Oh, I've made it."
Didn't say thank you. Just went floated into the night. Just floated up into the.
Yeah, just
ran, cartwheeled into the building.
Just
See you later.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was. So yeah,
Jesus.
and now I can imagine.
What that proved? Goodwill goes nowhere.
I can
Gets you
imagine
nowhere.
that what happens is that's why all these other people on the road were not given a lift. They've been suckered by her before. So no, fool me once. I almost said
She does
her
it
name
every day, sometimes twice a day.
then. Yeah, I haven't paid for a
especially in
taxi in
training.
25 years.
Other pieces of news regard to pretty well-renowned, kind of well-renowned. One of them is anyway. Franchises, horror franchises, apparently going to be rebooted by Lionsgate. The first one is the Blair Witch Project.
Oh yeah.
Apparently going, that Blair Witch movie we did back in 2016. Yeah, we're not going to carry on from that. We're going to do an all new reboot again. So yeah, it's been doing the rounds on Twitter. People have been sort of nominating their favorite creatives, filmmakers for who they'd like to see make a Blair Witch Project. What would you like to see? And I guess who would you like to see take it on? Who could take it on?
Isn't there a big campaign at the minute for Jed Shepherd to do it?
There is. Name dropping Mr. Jed Shepherd, the second time of asking. Yeah. So I think he went to Burkittsville in the US.
Yeah, they recently recorded a little. I haven't seen the actual content. I've just seen the pictures of them there filming like a little video vlog, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're still there. They can't get out. Please help Jed.
The only way they can get out is if they make a film.
Yeah.
Oh, now this
Blair
would
Witch
work if the
movie.
things they were filming was their new Blair Witch movie. So
Yeah.
the vlog they've done there,
They're going to
was the
disappear.
film.
They're now dead.
Yeah.
But we don't know if they're actually dead or not.
And this
Okay.
Twitter thing, the Blair Witch is on Twitter now.
Yeah.
She's amongst it. She's got their accounts. She's
Bloody
sending that
Blair
stuff
Witch.
out.
Which
It's the
top?
Blair Witch's problem.
I would go, apart from the people already named, who I agree would do an excellent job of a Blair Witch movie. I think it's right in their wheelhouse. But you know what? Give me those original folks that did the first one as well.
Yeah.
They did a decent job of it with no money and no hype and no expectations.
What are we thinking? Does it need to go back to basics? Does it need to go back to being like a found footage thing? Would is that, because I guess is Blair Witch the 2016 version, like it is still found footage, isn't it? But it feels yeah.
I think modern audiences will expect something. They'll expect something, even in a lower budget thing. You expect some kind of scare or some kind of action. I don't think you can go, quite the. I don't think you can be quite as restrained as even things like Paranormal Activity and everything and things along that vein are these days. But I would like not to see explanations. I don't think I need the Blair Witch to be explained.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We don't need a Blair Witch 2 either, do we? We don't need a.
You don't need a Book of Shadows.
Don't need a Book of Shadows. We don't need a ragtag group. We don't need a drowning pool soundtrack.
They should do like an Evil Dead 2 to Evil Dead 1, where it's the same story, but now it's got jokes. Now it's full of jokes.
Yeah, get some Deadites in there as well, just to spice it up.
Yeah.
Chainsaws would
Chainsaw
be
Hand.
a nice
So just
addition.
So Bruce Campbell in Blair Witch, he just turns up. Like in that last scene when they're in the basement and it pans over, rather than fucking hell, I've heard his name shouted a million times in that movie and I can't remember it. Josh.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Even that fellow, instead of that fellow in the corner, it's
the cast.
it's just Ashley Williams revving up his chainsaw arm.
Do we want to see a Blair Witch set in the past? Let's not call it a prequel. Don't call it a prequel. But like
that's what I quite liked about the sequel. Because it took place now and then at the same time, right?
Yeah.
Like it was like a time dilation.
Now then.
Now then. That's the whole. That was a subtitle.
The true Blair Witch.
The true Blair Witch. Not like a not like a prequel,
Wow.
but like if something was set in the era of like Robert Eggers' The Witch, for example.
Yeah.
I think that could be pretty cool. Or would that?
Oh,
just
like
fit-
the Blair Witch, the crossover.
the Blair Witch. Or the storyline of the game was pretty tasty as well. Man and dog.
I love that dog.
Man and dog. Yeah, there's lots of good. You could do a lot of good stuff with video cameras and that if it's set, in the right sort of time frame. Yeah, looking forward to that. Regardless, I've always enjoyed the Blair Witch. I played a lot of the games back in the day as well, PC games.
The Rustin Parr one. They're naff, aren't they?
I remember being generally quite scared of them, but yeah, Rustin Parr. Yeah, there was more. How many were there? Quite a few.
Isn't Rustin Parr an anagram of something rather than like it's not that makes it less cool?
Oh God,
Putin star.
Rustin Parr anagram is. Oh, I don't know. Good question. Don't
I'll
know.
find it. You crack on with the
You'll
news.
find it. And then the other franchise that apparently is going to get a reboot is Leprechaun himself. Apparently, Lionsgate are plotting the return of the Leprechaun franchise. Of course, we did get a Leprechaun movie in 2018, Leprechaun Returns.
I like that they're plotting. That makes them sound like some evil geniuses
Yeah.
sat around a boardroom and they're in a lair.
Right.
Hmm.
What do we need? What franchises have we got that could do? We haven't seen a film for
Have you
a
guys
year.
seen any of the previous Leprechaun reboot? There's two, right?
Yeah, there's
with
Leprechaun
a different leprechaun.
Origins. Leprechaun Origins. Is that right?
Uh,
Anyway, well,
yeah.
apparently Darren Lynn Bosman has been publicly asking Lionsgate. So he made Saul's 2 to 4, Spiral from the Book of Saul, Reaper the Genetic Opera. He says, I'll definitely get Warwick Davis back.
Well, that's okay then, because that's what I was about to say. Because he's the heart and soul of that movie.
You could
Yeah.
no, you could swap him out with that little boy from This Is England.
The little dude, little Sean from This Is England. Let's get him in all of the diminutive roles. We want him as the new Wolverine, and now we want him as
Leprechaun.
Leprechaun. Is he even that small? I don't think
No,
he's
he's
grown
not.
up now. He's a grown man.
I mean, I don't know. I don't know these guys personally. Like, can you say that you definitely do something unless they've already arranged it? Because otherwise, could we go to Lionsgate and say we would definitely get Warwick Davis and Jennifer Aniston, and we'd get the General Mills contract, so we could use Lucky Charms. We do all
We
those
get
things.
Jennifer Aniston to play the Leprechaun. Really
Oh,
mix things up.
Really
And
twist
what-
things up.
and
Jennifer
Warwick Davis-
Aniston. I'm the
Just
Leprechaun.
on her
Davis be the
knees,
final girl.
walking around on her knees.
Jen has already said she'll definitely do
Warwick
it. Right?
Davis, final girl. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Warwick Davis is the final girl. There we go. We've done it. Let's do it. Let's put a pitch together. And let's do a Blair
Wes
Witch
Craven's New
pitch.
Nightmare it. Wes Craven's New Nightmare it, and like it'll be set in the real world where Hollywood actor Jennifer Aniston is revealed to be a leprechaun.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, yeah. And she's got a pot of gold. It's
Yeah,
just a
that's
big-
what's given her all her acting powers over the years and her lustrous hair.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I like how we're plotting now, like evil
Yeah.
geniuses.
Yeah, we're plotting, right? You think you can do a plot? We're doing a plot. Okay.
We did that in 2 minutes, and it's the most exciting Leprechaun sequel I've thought of for a decade.
Yeah.
Come on.
There we go. Let's do it. Yeah, so that is pretty much it. Have you guys seen anything? Have you just been busy
Before
relaxing, not
Before I do
moving?
that, Ben, Rustin Parr is an anagram of Rasputin, so it's named after
I was
famous
close.
Russian
I
baddie.
said Putin. I was halfway there. Okay.
I remember there being like weird little ghosties wandering through the world of the game, and that always used to freak me out.
Weird little ghosties.
Yeah, it was creepy. It was a creepy game. Maybe because I was just a kid playing it. Year 2000, it came
I
out. So I was
was-
like 14.
I was scared of games that weren't scary games back then as well.
Yeah.
Like anything would scare me back then.
Don't take the
So
piss.
what have we been watching? I'll tell you what, so because I've been in holiday mode, I've been in that kind of thing where you don't really have a plan of action for what you stick on. You have a spare hour till you end up on Amazon Prime and going, well, I don't know, stick something on.
Hang on a minute.
Like Super Mario Bros. Yeah, why not? I've not seen that since I was
Yeah.
5. So
Yeah.
I watched Super Mario Bros.
Yeah. How's it hold
yeah.
up?
Tiny heads.
Way better than it gets credit for. Like it's so. I mean, it's not a good movie. Like it is not a great movie, but it really is. So it's a whole like style or aesthetic these days where you take a kids game franchise or something and you kind of dystopian it up, or you kind of make it more adult. That's what they did. So they've got like a whole Mad Max dystopian vibe going on with it. There's like rocket shoes. Not Danny DeVito, although Danny DeVito would make a great Wario if he was in the sequel.
Oh, can you imagine that?
The
Wario.
ultimate Wario.
That would be so good against
so who-
Bob
who is it?
Hoskins
Bob
Mario.
Hoskins?
Bob Hoskins and John
and-
John
yeah.
Leguizamo.
but he plays Luigi, and in a way he's kind of the main character, which is a bit weird. But he's also absolutely charming in it. I will say both of them are. Their names are Mario and Luigi Mario.
Mario. Yeah,
That's
the
like
Mario
his surname.
brothers.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Wow.
And it's like, and also Dennis Cooper
Hopper.
plays Dennis Hopper plays King Cooper.
Dennis Cooper.
Plays King Hopper. And it's got Toad in it. It's got Yoshi in it. And it's got like great animatronics in it and stuff.
I
as well.
remember Yoshi being really good. Little
What was
dinosaur
Yoshi?
boy.
His little dinosaur gets stabbed, but then they take the blade out of him and he's fine.
All I remember is tiny heads. Oh yeah, Yoshi's like an actual dinosaur,
Goombas.
right?
Yeah. Well, yes, it's got actual animatronic stuff going on it, and it's
Oh,
it's
I
cool.
need to rewatch this. It's been so long.
It's not great. It's not great movie. Like it does kind of fall into the. They did make it too much of a child's movie. I think if they kind of stuck, because apparently when they wrote the script, they were trying to make it a bit more of an adult thing. But then when they started to make it, the producers kind of rolled back on that and were like, "No, we need it's for kids." So they kind of it does feel like a kids movie, but it's all there. Like there's a lot of cool stuff in that film.
If someone would tell me a Mario Brothers movie doesn't exist, you just dreamt it one day, I'd just go, yeah, I believe you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just
If you describe
It is wild.
if you describe it, it sounds like that man at the pub that can get any movie.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Mario Brothers is set in a dystopian future, and they have these jumping boots, and there's a.
But it's a dystopian.
They're actually plumbers. As well,
Parallel, yeah, plumbers, yeah, parallel dimension where the dinosaurs never died out, so they evolved separate to us into humanoid people. And also there's like a de-evolution gun.
And that's what the fungus is as well, isn't it?
It's like the old king.
Mushroom is the king, yeah.
Yeah. It's quite cool. It's quite fun anyway.
The new Mario Brothers is going to be animated though, right?
Yeah.
The one with
Weak.
Donkey Kong.
Weak. Come on.
They need to remake this one. They need to do the sequel to this one.
Yeah.
Have John.
It's so confusing because on the poster
Luigi,
it's got Bob Hoskins' name above Bob Hoskins, and then above John Leguizamo, it's got Dennis Hopper's name. And that's just confusing for everyone involved, isn't it? Like,
yeah. But that was an interesting watch. I don't know why I sat there. I was quite happy to watch it. Also watched Encanto, which is that new Disney film. Some of the catchiest songs made by Lin-Manuel Miranda. It's not a horror movie. But then I also went to watch The Northman, which I would say is definitely horror-y. And I will say, I told Ben before this, I've still not seen the Lighthouse, but even still, I think I am now a Robert Eggers fanboy because his films are so good. Like, they're just so well put together. The Northman is up there now for me with Gladiator and The Green Knight.
Oh, wow.
Like, it's a really good film, really mature, really well put together.
So and you like a film about the days of yore where people have a sword. They're your favourites. And
there's a bit of mythology thrown in as well. Yeah. And you imagine the team up episode with Gladiator, Green Knight,
and
Northman.
Well, like the Gladiator.
And it's like
Braveheart.
They will completely fuck around with history and they will become the Three Musketeers.
Yeah.
All together, that's their team name.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
But it's really good. It's probably one of the better films I've seen this year so far in terms of new releases. It's absolutely brutal. There's something I won't spoil it, but there's like a bit of a nose in it, which I found really, really good.
Someone gets their nose got. They go, have you done that? Got your nose?
Got your nose?
It's in his hand.
Give it back. What witchcraft is this? That sort of stuff.
Alexander Skarsgård is an absolute beast. He's an absolute unit. He looks like he was sculpted out of muscles, and then he drew a face on there with marker pen. Like he's an absolute beast. I was telling Ben earlier, the trap muscles, they can't be real. No one's got trap muscles that big. Like he's more trap muscle than man. Like he's.
Can he not turn his head like Michael Keaton in the original Batman?
No, he can, but he can do it so powerfully because his traps are like so strong.
That actually the world turns.
Ruined.
The world turns, yeah. But he's amazing. Like he's an absolute. Like in fact, there's one bit where he's just screaming at the camera, and like I don't know how his
What's
voice.
What's the camera doing here?
He was on the toilet at the time. I don't know why they filmed that bit. He's behind the scenes. But he's just screaming at the camera. It's like brutal. I don't know. Like he must have killed his voice doing that bit. Yeah, very much recommend it.
I need to see it this week. I wanted to see it so we could chat about it today, but unfortunately didn't get around to it. But
I still need to go
on the list.
I still need to go and see it. I'm going to go and see it, probably over getting around to see what I'm reliably informed is Ben's favourite movie, Morbius. Probably going to go and see The Northman instead.
Oh yeah, you went to
my favorite.
Yeah.
It's my favorite Morbius.
Yeah, what I've taken from
Morbius
movie. From your not absolute damnation of it, that it is your favorite movie.
Yeah, I didn't. Yeah.
Is it better than
my favorite Morbius movie of the year?
Do you prefer it to Blade? Is it on par with Blade 2?
No.
Trinity?
No. I mean,
Blade
it's got
Trinity?
it's on a par with Blade Trinity, I'd say. Yeah, sure. Actually, it's got Triple H. It's got Triple H in it, so maybe not.
So maybe not. No.
Yeah. I would say, I think I mentioned it's better than the Venom movies.
That's interesting because I didn't love the first Venom film, but I thought it was all right.
But in this binary world, I know Ben hates Venom.
Yeah, I hate it. I love Morbius.
Love
Venom.
The two things about Ben, main facts that if you have a profile under each of us, Ben, .1, loves Morbius. 2, hates Venom.
Hates Venom. Come on. Yeah. I don't think I've seen anything this week. Oh wait, Choose or Die on Netflix. I think
it's gonna still on. Yeah,
have we all watched
I
that?
wanted to watch that, but now I've been slightly dissuaded by you hating it, Ben. I know you like Morbius, so I don't know. I'm conflicted.
Did I hate Choose or Die?
You give it like a
Are you asking
2-star
us?
review?
Did I say anything? I can't remember.
No, I just saw your review.
Oh, okay. It's an interesting concept. Obviously, it's got Asa Butterfield. Is that how you say his name? I recognize this face. Little dude, Asa. Is it Iola Evans? It's a weird one because it feels very like UK. It's got that sort of Black Mirror UK vibe.
I thought that from the trailer. Like it is an American movie, right? But it feels like it should be like a 70s, 80s British movie.
It's like, I swear, it feels UK made. It looks UK made. There's UK cast, and then they're in America. They've got American accents, so that was a bit confusing. It's very Black Mirror, but I feel like it doesn't fully commit to some of the ideas. It doesn't want to go as far as maybe Black Mirror would. Obviously, old school text-based adventure games, very cool, and the way it implements that in this is good. The finale is quite interesting. There's an interesting little twist that it puts on something, but I don't know. It felt quite low budget as well. A lot of the times it was showing you stuff happening in the game that were also supposed to be happening in real life, but it was only showing you in the games. It was almost like, okay, they haven't got a budget to show what's actually happening. And also, it's supposed to be a Robert Englund cameo in it, but it's just his voice. So I was a bit disappointed.
Yeah. Oh. Well, I'll tell you what then. I haven't seen Tuesday Night yet. I think I will still watch it. But if you're looking for one that is actually set in the UK as well, and has the sort of retro video game and horror themes to it, get yourself on the internet and find yourself a comic by UK comic writer Daniel Whitehead. It's called Hex Loader. It's very good.
Oh, okay.
If you find yourself looking up a review of the first 2 issues of that on Pipe Dream Comics, you find a glowing review of the first 2 issues of it, written by me. Have a little read about that, and
when did you write
comics.
this?
Oh, years ago now. But
just after a marathon, he got over.
Couldn't even run a mile on that in them days. But yeah.
Okay, this does look interesting.
Hex Loader is real good, and
it looks cool.
Daniel is a very nice man, so read his comics.
Because I really like the aesthetic of like the text-based adventure games. Lots of potential, I guess, for interesting stories and interesting horror stories. Just felt like this one couldn't quite commit to one thing or another. It was almost like, when films have got like high stakes but also like no stakes, where it's like, okay, I understand the stakes are high, but at the same time, just go home if you're not interested. See you later.
You've done some experimenting with text adventure based horror, right, Luke?
Not so much horror. I've done text adventure style games and stuff, but not horror. You could do. What do you want one?
Yes, please.
All right.
You want one? Ready to go right now.
I like your
also one up.
I liked your funny one with everyone dying. That is a fun game to play. Again, that's available for the public, right, Luke? That you can.
It is, yeah. You're going to die. It's sort of an interactive fiction text adventure game in which you will die, and I think if you just Google it, it should come up.
And as you've heard it here first, Luke's going to work on a horror one. So there we go.
That'll be ready to go next week.
Yeah. Pop that one in the oven.
Pop one in.
Rustle one up for you.
Has anybody else seen anything of
Um,
note? Or
Well, I think I've forgotten to mention them, and I haven't watched anything in the last week. But I forgot to mention I've been working way through a bit of a backlog of late. I watched Tourist Trap quite recently.
okay,
It's just
yeah.
the guy
That's
with
the
all the
one
kind
with
of
the
the weird,
mannequins.
the mannequin / slightly automated thing, and a man doing a creepy voice.
I'm trying to remember how that film goes. So like some of the mannequins, he can turn people into mannequins.
Yeah,
And
he puts
is that right?
Yeah, he puts the sort of stuff on them and makes them into mannequins.
And then some of them are just mannequins he's bringing to life.
Yeah. And
then
at first it's like they're magic, but they're just, it is just the mannequins and the sort of automation that he's put in them and the levers and pulleys and so on. I watched that.
Yeah.
And I watched Candyman 2, Farewell to Flesh.
Farewell to the
Lovely.
Flesh.
Where I think this is where
New Orleans or something.
Yeah, and it's a follow. It is a proper follow-up from the first one. I think I'd grown up thinking that the Candyman films were quite disparate, but it does follow on from the first one. There's some good moments in it, but it definitely is more. It loses some of the deeper meaning and the metaphor of the original Candyman and goes into the more this is a horror sequel territory. But I didn't dislike it. Didn't dislike it. It's all right.
I've not seen it for a long, long time. It's got Helen in it, right? Candy Helen.
Candy Helen.
No, I think she's
Helen.
No, I've forgotten. It's been a couple of weeks. She's not the major character. I think she does appear and is definitely mentioned, but it's not the big focus of.
Yeah.
Helen isn't the big focus. It's got the girl who is distantly related to the Candyman. She's his bloodline. He goes, "Oh, come on, come and be a Candyman with us." And she goes, "No, thanks, mate." Breaks the mirror, and he goes, "No," and he shatters in like Terminator 2.
He's absolutely shattered.
But that's that. And then I've got a little bit of it left to watch. But I've been watching another old horror classic called Terror Train. That's a fun one.
Okay, yeah, I know it. I've not seen it though. Is it good?
It's a good old laugh. They're on a big graduation trip. All the guys are, and it hasn't been revealed as far as I've watched who the killer is, but I'm pretty sure it's the boy at the beginning that gets pranked, where someone like, "Oh, you're a big old virgin, are you, mate? Well, come here. We've fixed it for you to have sex with someone else from school." Jamie Lee Curtis is in it, and Jamie Lee Curtis is the person who's in on the prank, and she is behind the bed doing like a voice like, "Oh, come here then, and we'll do some sexing," but it isn't. Jokes on him. Just a little bit of banter. They put a dead body in the bed that they just had because it's a medical school.
There's no need for that.
And he gets proper spooked, and he spins around.
When in room,
there's a curtain. There's a curtain.
Barely know her.
There's a curtain around the bed, and he gets all spun up in it when people come in and laugh at him. And he's not there then later, so I imagine he has come back as the murderer. And they're all dressed up on this big fancy dress graduation party, which is on a train, by the way. And people are all being bumped off on there. They're having a bad time of it, but there's some interesting kills.
So it's a slasher, right? It's
yeah.
Okay, yeah. You got me thinking about so what they're like pathology students or something, are they? Or
like it's like a medical school, so they're like it's in American, so they're described as like pre-med and like medical trainees.
Did you ever see that film? It's not too it's like mid-noughties, late noughties, and it had the guy from Heroes in it. Milo, I think his name is, and they were pathology students, and they were killing people and trying to make it as difficult for people to work out how they died as possible.
Oh, what's that called? And they're all getting. There's always someone, a person will get chloroformed quite regularly. I feel there's about 5 or 6 scenes where someone gives you a chloroform and you get captured.
It might be called pathology, to be honest.
Pathology, yeah. I've not seen that, but I recognize the poster.
I think I saw it at the cinema when we lived in Korea. Right. Wasn't it? Weird experience.
Yeah.
Milo Venter
Guy from
Biglia. What happened to him?
Yeah.
I'm sure he's still going.
I think he's did some TV stuff. They even rebooted Heroes, right? At some point.
Really?
I don't know if
was Heroes one of the things that was a victim of the writers' strike, right?
Yeah.
Where the second series was absolute bobbins, and then because no one was available to write it.
I thought it started
Pure
great when
bobbins.
there's a guy called Siler, I think his name was.
He
was
eats
a bad
people's
guy,
brains
and he
and
just
gains their knowledge,
eats
right?
people's brains. Yeah, but like that was like genuinely horrifying for ages. And I think in second season they were like, no, he's a good guy now. Like he's
Yeah, they
coming
made because
around.
Zachary
kinda ruined
Quinto
it.
was a nicey, right? And everyone liked him, so he goes, "Oh, we'll
Yeah.
turn you into a goodie now."
Yeah,
Because the baddie was
That's how it
like
goes.
was the baddie like Apocalypse?
I honestly can't even remember.
Big
I
Metal
barely
Man?
remember anything about it.
Here's an
Big
interesting
Metalman.
one as well. You know the guy called Hero in Heroes?
Yeah.
He, you know the game Outer Wilds, which I talked
Yes.
about. He's the producer, or he owns that company that made that game.
Is he? Good for
Yeah.
him.
Yeah.
Wow.
Thought you were gonna say in real life he's a villain.
In real life, he's an absolute asshole.
In real life, he's an absolute bloody villain.
His real
No.
name is Villain.
He's done a good thing.
What
Yeah.
was Siler's like powers in Heroes?
Well, he
Brain
could,
eating.
he could learn anything. So he was like he was
Yeah.
a Dr. Manhattan type of guy. So he was like a watchmaker, right? Or
Yeah.
a watchmaker's son. So he could learn anything. So the idea is that he could look at your brain and go, "Oh yeah,
I see
That's
what
how-
they're trying to
do
do.
that.
I see what they're
That's what
doing
they
there." Yeah,
So he could learn. He could
and
basically
then that
collect,
touches
collect
the
people's
and then around the
powers.
got it.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
there was
yeah,
so there was Hero who was a timeman.
yeah.
There was
Cheerleader was
a guy who could
Wolverine.
fly. Yeah, cheerleader Wolverine.
I liked the guy. I know this is getting really off horror now, but I like the guy who was like a hero, like a samurai hero guy in the past.
Yeah.
And then it turned out he was immortal, and he'd been
Yeah.
like buried alive or something for thousands of years or something. And then Hero went back in time and like met him in real life, and then went back to the future.
Yeah.
He
and
said,
present.
"Diggers up here. This is where
Yeah.
I'm going to be."
I thought it's really there's a lot of stuff going on. I mean, I don't think it holds up today. Maybe I've not seen it, but at the time that was quite a good TV show. Like this is pre Breaking Bad, right? I
Yeah.
mean, this is
Pre like prestige too. I think you'd have to
Yeah.
be a bold superhero. You'd have to have such a bold idea to do a superhero original IP now in a world where all
Yeah,
of the major
yeah.
ones that have got 50, 60 plus years of comics to lean on are now
Yeah, yeah.
regularly putting out prestige TV series.
Yeah.
That's the CW verse, whatever they call it.
Yeah.
I mean, have you guys watched any more Moon Knight at all?
I've watched the first two and then I was on holiday.
Yeah.
I've seen 3 now.
How you feeling about it?
Yeah,
It's
I'm
all right, you know.
enjoying it.
I'm enjoying it.
It is good. It's not a character I know absolutely loads about, so it's interesting sort of discovering more about the characters I go through. I know a bit, but you know, and I like all the Egyptian god stuff as well. That's all pretty interesting. And it seems like the MCU now we've seen the Thor Love and Thunder trailer, which has got a Zeus in it. Looks like obviously they're going to be leaning heavier into the gods, big bad gods. I was going to say the gods, the real ones that exist, but you know, probably just fictional as well.
Yeah. Speaking of the Thor trailer, looks amazing.
Yeah.
It
But
looks really good.
what a good team behind that. I can't wait to go and see it. I mean, we live in a world where typically even the less exciting Marvel stuff is still fine. And the I think Thor has one of the best creative teams out of the ones that are putting things out. So it's going to be fantastic, I'm sure.
Yeah, I'm looking
Looking forward to it.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
other than that, I watched a film. Don't know about you two. I watched a film called Blood Hook.
Blood Hook. I also
Blood
saw
Hook.
that film.
Bloodhook.
Blood Hook.
Yeah. So this week's movie is Bloodhook. Is a 1986 American slasher film directed by Jim Mallon, starring Mark Jacobs, Lisa Todd, Patrick Danz, Sara Hauser. It was distributed by Troma Entertainment.
Interesting.
Yes. During a local fishing contest, people are being violently dragged into the lake and killed by a giant fish hook.
Ah, it's summer. And it's time to relax and enjoy the world's most popular recreational activity, fishing. Yes, it's Bloodhook. And fishing was never like this. Bloodhook casts you into the heart of the world famous Musky Madness fishing contest. Its various contestants And the one fisherman who's the most unique fisherman of them all, the master fisherman. This master caster will teach you all the angles. Yes, fellow anglers, this is your chance to learn the art of planting your hook and riding in your catch. So come on down and join the master at this most delightful pastime. Blood hook, where the catch of the day is you.
Interesting. It's not a sentient giant fish hook. It is
That's
being
what that synopsis
operated.
gives the idea of, isn't it? That like this giant fish hook is getting you.
And that
It's being
sounds
operated by someone.
better than it actually is. I would like to see. In fact,
What?
one of the letterbox reviews I was going to say was, I have to say, I was bitterly disappointed this wasn't about a giant hook randomly appearing from the sky. I mean, that
Yeah.
sounds great.
Like rubber, just like a random
Yeah,
fish hook.
The blood
Yeah.
hook. It'll get you.
it'll get you.
So, sorry, Luke, not to interrupt your next part. All I was going to say
There you go.
was, unbelievable how long this movie is. 1 hour 50, which for a
And it
slasher movie of
feels
this era,
even longer than that.
yeah, it just doesn't know when to end. Anyway, sorry,
Yeah.
go on.
That's right. So reviews, Rotten Tomatoes, critics score is 0. They haven't reviewed it.
That's
They
rude.
haven't even seen it. The audience score is 20%, which I think that's out of 20, so they loved it. 20% out of
20
20.
out of 20.
Wow.
IMDb is at 4.2 out of 10. Letterboxd is at 2.7 out of 5. Yeah, and then there wasn't a huge amount of reviews. One says like 1 star. It took way too long to get to the blood and the hooking, and then this one about disappointed it wasn't a giant hook randomly appearing from the sky.
It's pretty disappointing.
Yeah, very disappointing.
I think we need to shout out. It was a listener, right? Someone who suggested this. Who's this loose unit that we're calling out here?
I don't know if he listens to this podcast. It's Chad.
It's
So
just a
if he
Chad-
doesn't-
general listener to the
If
world.
he doesn't, he'll never know that we shouted him out. So this is
I like
on you,
that
Chad.
shouting out. Chad Lutsky, who's an author, horror author. He said this. He said something on the lines of, "It's the most fun he's ever had in his entire life." Something along those lines. And we watched it, and I don't know if we felt the same way.
Well, Chad, we'll come back to you.
Yeah. So this is weird because usually I look on the Wikipedia plot breakdown and there is nothing. So
Mhm.
an hour and 50, a lot happens. So I guess we're gonna have to be as vague, not as vague as possible, but we're not going to be going into every minuscule detail
Too
of
much
what
happens.
happens.
Too much.
Too much
much
happens. We'd be here all blooming night. But obviously we will spoil Blood Hook. So if you are intending to
Yeah.
watch it still, I mean, pause and come back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you're unaware of who the killer is in Bloodhook and it's not a sentient fish hook, unfortunately, then we are going to spoil that. Probably one of the most like in terms of killer reveals, it just happens and you're like, oh, so is this a red herring or not?
I kind of love it
I
how
thought it was
it's
gonna be a
fully
red herring.
revealed and explained by us getting all of the characters together. And like the kids just turn up, the orphaned kids, by the way, just turn up and say, oh, we've got the final missing piece of the puzzle here. This final bit of things.
I thought it was going to be a
Wow.
red herring. Turned out to be a muskie. What are they?
Trying to be a
Musk-
bloody muskie.
Mu-
Muskies, yeah.
Yeah, you get musky madness.
So where's it
Yeah.
set? It's set in Wisconsin, isn't it? Which is sort
Yes.
of like, yeah. Because initially I was like, accents were some of them a bit Canadian. I was a bit confused. But no, it's set in Wisconsin. But maybe some of the actors were Canadian. Who knows? During like a fishing competition, where it's like, if you catch the
Musky
biggest
madness.
fish,
If you
Okay.
catch
Well,
the biggest
musky
muskie,
Musky Madness was apparently what the movie was originally called before they went, nah, let's call it.
people might not
Bloodhook.
know what muskies are. They might think that something's like got a damp sort of animal smell about it, and it's
Yeah,
making
I
them
bet some
mad. I
musky
want them to know
madness-
they
I
won't
bet-
get the fish hook bit.
But after your marathon, Andy had a bit of musky madness going on.
Oh,
Straight in the
Oh, hey,
showers, all
did.
right.
straight in the shower. Just sit down to take a photo of your medal. Nah, straight in the shower.
Shower, a bit musky.
The cast, I didn't recognize any. I mean, I kind of recognize the Fisher guy who had the really strong accent. I don't know what his name was. Was it Leroy?
So
Was he
look,
the-
yeah.
Yeah. So a very important character is Leroy. Then there's another guy who's in the background of Andy's, like a guy who's definitely got like black hair and they've spray painted it gray
Yeah.
to make him look like an old man. Like, obviously, this seems to lean heavily into.
Witness me
Wait.
screamed as he spray painted
Yeah.
his face.
Sleepaway Camp before this.
Let's have a look. Sleepaway Camp's 83. This is 86. So yeah.
Okay.
Okay,
Sleepaway
yeah.
Camp, Friday the 13th. Obviously classic camp / summer based slasher movies. Felt like one of those. Felt like it was existing in that world. But
A lot of these
despite that,
people are only actors in one film, so that's why you don't know them for anything else.
what film?
Yeah.
Oh, this one. There's not that much gore really. The blood looks a bit silly. The blood, there's like body parts at some point, and they look like body parts you'd buy in a pound shop or a Dollar Tree. Just
Well,
like the
there's
shitty little
the-
hands with a bit of
there's
bone
the-
sticking out.
There's the floating bodies with the giant eyeballs.
Yeah. Okay, that's not too bad. You know,
They're a bit
That's not too
gruesome.
bad.
Yeah, when there's a bit when he strings the guy up like a kitten.
Oh yeah, that bit's pretty gruesome. He like shoves something into his neck and
Yeah, then he's putting
Threads him.
putting the string through and he's threading him,
yeah,
That's probably it.
making
though,
him into like a lovely person necklace,
yeah, like a daisy. Is that what you call them? Like a daisy necklace.
little daisy chain. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, who we got in here? Peter Van Cleese. We're going to say some names that no one will know. Anne Colbert, played by Lisa Todd. Hot Toddy, we call her in the,
Hot Toddy, you got
in the
Bev
trades.
D.
Hot toddy. Oh, what character you do? Rodney. There's someone called Rodney in this.
Rodney.
Rodders.
Yeah, Leroy Lutke. I think that must be the main guy, right? The
Your main
killer.
guy isn't your main guy Peter Van Cleese, because that's the
Okay,
he's
alright,
the
yeah.
little boy at the beginning, and then he's because
Yeah.
that's where we begin. We begin in the past, where a little boy is going
Oh,
down to watch his granddad do some fishing on a really slow roller coaster that goes down to the
Yeah,
dock.
what is
Yeah.
that? Is that just like a weird thing that gets you
Like
down
a-
to the?
Yeah, like
Like,
an
oh,
elevator.
I can't be I can't bother
Just
to
take
walk
the
down this
stairs.
hill.
Yeah.
I can't be bothered to walk down these stairs.
Oh, I
mean,
need
that'd
to
be
get
good.
down this slight incline. Well, I've got just the slow lift for you.
That is the slowest lift in the world. And at the
um,
same time, we hear the cicadas.
Yeah, the
whatever
cicadas
that
are there.
sound
They're
is.
doing a little bit of chirruping.
Is that them rubbing their thighs together? Is that what makes that noise?
I don't know what they do, if it's their thighs or their wings, but cicadas are very loud.
Yeah, especially in this film.
And then his granddad's there and he's explaining to his grandson, so I'm doing a bit of fishing, but let me explain to you briefly how cassette tapes work. And he does. But then he doesn't quite like the
Let me explain to you how cassette tapes for. I'm not fucking interested, Granddad. You silly old bastard.
And then he says, yeah, let me explain to you how cassette tapes work. But then obviously he's not such a fan of the song because he grips his head and then falls in the water.
What song would
Yeah.
make you do that?
Let's All Jump in the Lake by the Beach Boys.
Oh yeah, yeah, but you play it and then you go, oh,
Sweet Child of Mine, that opening riff.
oh yeah.
Fuck yeah, I've heard it too many times.
I'm saying, oh yeah, I love the opening riff.
Yeah.
No.
It for me, it is most Adele songs if I've had loads of car journeys to do or have been in public places where they get over. Because otherwise, Adele, perfectly fine, nice music, but as soon as a radio channel gets their grubby little hooks into it, it's on ad nauseum.
Bloody little hooks.
I like a bit of Adele. I'll tell you what songs make me want to do that. Anything by Megan Trainor. Do you know this
All
lady?
about that bass.
All about that bass. No.
the
And there's
Florida
another
Fish.
song called No.
Is that what you say to her?
My name is No. My number is No. I
Ah.
hate it. I absolutely hate it. It just really, really grinds my gears. I turn it off.
So, like I appreciate it being an anthem about rebuffing unwanted attention in a nightclub, but I'm here to collect your taxes, love. Like, you can't just refuse that.
Yeah,
No,
you can't just put that song on. Or any
No.
sort of like whimsical indie singer-songwriter man who is singing about pretty much just that he's met a girl in a place and then they're going back to his house. Anything like that.
You're calling him out. You're subtweeting him, Ben. Just call Ed Sheeran out.
Not Ed Sheeran. What's his name?
He's always on about meeting a girl in a pub. And
He is. But is it George Ezra?
George
And
Ezra.
I liked his Budapest song.
Can't stand it.
I'm all about that
can't stand it.
Budapest.
I
don't know that song.
charisma vacuum.
Oh,
I don't know that song.
yeah.
It's a good one.
That's
What
a
I've
terrible
established,
song.
little dating tip for anyone who's hoping to land themselves a
Interesting.
celebrity partner. From what I've gathered from at least 2 Edward Sheeran songs, he has a big thing for kisses that taste like strawberries. So if you're hoping to pull Ed Sheeran, start using kids' toothpaste.
And then if I
Ask
start
the kids
using,
first.
if I use kids' toothpaste, I eat it. I can't
Yeah.
not spit it
And
out.
Ed Sheeran
Tastes
will
like
be
Milk
there
teeth.
snogging you. He'll be
Why?
have
That's
his
why-
tongue
that's why I
right
had to
down your
stop.
throat.
Milk
I gotta get them the
teeth.
strawberry.
That's a
strawberry
brand.
kisses. Eat
I
your
had to
milk
play that.
teeth.
Megan Trainor song to him. He kept trying to kiss me.
Oh, that face, that face. Shut up.
My toothpaste is no.
My toothpaste is no, leave it alone. Anyway, so that would make me fall into a lake and just drown myself silly.
But this
That's the
particular
thing.
song that makes the granddad drown himself silly. It's a song we're going to hear several more times. So strap in.
What is the song? I don't know. It's about fishing, right?
Just some crooning.
Just some crooning about fishing.
Some crooning about fishing. Yeah. It feels, rather than feeling integral to the plot, it really does just feel like they've just shoved that song in there. They've made a deal with somebody who's made that song, and they've gone, "We'll get this song in this film, making a film. Do you want me to play your song in it?" Yeah. How many times? All the times. How many times? Yes.
All the times.
Every
They
time.
charge them a
Every
bit much for it.
possibility.
Can I use your song in my film? Yeah, it's going to cost you
I quite
100 quid though. 100
I-
quid, right?
quite enjoyed the logic behind what
Yeah.
sends the killer off. I enjoy it, like the ludicrous nature of it.
I do
but-
like that.
But they did overplay it as well. Those sounds were getting on my tits. They
Yeah.
were. I was going, man. I was reaching for my fishing rod at one point. I'm gonna start hooking some people.
You're reaching for your rod at one point. Luke, just chill out and watch the film, will you, mate? He was
It's the
reaching for his
sound.
tackle.
He was
Oh,
reaching for his devil's tritone.
He's reaching for his tackle box. Leave the tackle box out of it. Put the maggot down. So-
Can't help it. I've been triggered.
It's a red herring.
There's a lot of red herrings in this movie as well. For a slasher, it constantly wants to make you think that everyone is the killer, which I can kind of appreciate in a slasher movie. I
only-
think it works.
Not only that, you as the viewer thinking it's the killer. I mean, Peter, he stitches up several of his mates to the sheriff straight away. Oh, the murderer is this guy. Yeah, my
Yeah.
mate. Yeah,
Yeah.
You've
it's
got-
him. Definitely
what's
a
it-
murderer. Shoot on
and the-
sight.
The old dude as well, who's like the classic character
The
from
cheater guy. The guy cheats at fishing.
the guy
Can
with
you
grey
cheat
hair.
at fishing?
Oh, not
Um,
that dude.
there's
The guy
another
with the
guy.
grey hair. The
Oh, yeah, the main guy. The guy is like the crazy Ralph of this film.
Yeah.
the crazy Ralph, yeah. And you people from the city have no idea how it works around here.
It blames
sort of
a
thing.
kid who basically just lives in the city for acid rain. I feel like if you're that kid, I'm not responsible for the infrastructure of cities.
Yeah.
I just happen
Yeah.
to live in one.
Is he the guy who has like a fish
Fish
hook
hook
in his
earring.
ear already?
Yeah.
Already.
He seems to really like
Is
the
it-
fishing
is it
lifestyle.
like
I feel worse for him. I feel
A
quite sad for him.
fashion statement.
I don't think he knows it's there.
You got a fish hook in your ear? No.
I think the killer tried to get him, but his line snapped.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
And he just
And
left
left
it
it
in there for a
laugh.
it just hung there.
Yeah.
And
So, in terms of the plot, I don't
Grandad
know.
goes crazy, and then it's 70, and the little boy who's come down and learned how he's only just learned how tapes work, and then he's kind of left wide-eyed on the dock, and then 17 years later, that little boy is now 21. He's inherited his granddad's thing because his dad molested him, so he didn't get it.
I'd never listened to a cassette again. If the first time I'd listened to one, my granddad died, I'd be on vinyl for the rest of my life.
Also, it did seem like the tape killed him because he didn't see the hook. He just saw his granddad put a song on and go, "Ah!" And then Jim
I genuinely
Jim
thought that
Finch
for ages, like, oh, his mind's gone. His mind has been destroyed by that cassette.
I honestly thought there was some sort of telekinesis involved for a while.
Yeah, it's a bit scannersy.
Yeah, something like that. But no, it's not.
Carries summer vacation.
It really does say, and as I mentioned before, on Letterboxd, part of the plot description, it says, after a sufficient number of deaths, the killer is finally revealed. Not only does that kind of describe most slashers, but it definitely describes this film because it feels like it's just going through the motions of killing everybody off.
Well, it doesn't even do that. For the first hour, I don't think anyone dies. And it's just like lots of drama. We're just setting
up suspects, isn't it? There's the crazy bait shop man who's slightly weird and tells people that they must respect the water. So it's like, oh, okay, people who don't respect the water. And then it's the crazy fishing cheat competition man. It's like, no one's as good at fishing at me. And then the guy tries it and he goes, oh, there's no tassels allowed on your fish rod, mate. You're a cheat.
He's got like a sniper fishing rod, like he can hit a bullseye from a mile away.
Oh yeah, is that the guy who's got like he's got a big fish like in a bathtub? Yeah, he's like, I'm going to pretend I've caught this.
I'm going to pretend to catch this fish that I've just grown in a bathtub.
Dirty, cheating bastard.
And there's Crazy Ralph who blames people for acid rain. Yeah.
Oh yeah, he goes on about acid. He's obsessed with acid rain.
That was the thing though. In the 80s, you worry about acid rain.
Acid rain, quicksand, and rabies.
There's a woman obsessed with running. Probably you might see her the other day.
She goes on 3 runs in this film alone,
and leaves her child just like a baby,
just in like a little fenced-off area.
Yeah, she's like, "Well, I've got to make some time for myself. If I don't get my runs in," and she treats running as if it's like, I'm sure you enjoy it to a degree, Andy. I know I'm preaching to the choir here, but no one likes that running that much. They go, "Oh, should we sneak in a few miles together, like a first date?" Be absolutely blowing out my ass.
Sneaking half a dozen miles for a little bit of fun on a date, and then back it up with some sit-ups for some foreplay.
Yeah, that was weird. But they were like saying like that the repetition number together. 1, 2, as if it was super sexy.
It's like, oh, what's gonna come next?
How many repetitions? How many times shall I thrust in?
No, don't say that. But yeah, she literally just leaves her baby at the side of side of a river?
He gets hooked off as well, and then he's just gone from the film. And he's not dead. You see her go, oh no, he's been hooked.
He's been hooked.
Yeah.
She takes him off.
To be fair,
don't know where.
If you're a serial killer who has the ability to hook fully grown people to death, how's he failing at doing it to a little baby?
That's true.
There's less of them to get hooked into, though, isn't there?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. But yeah, did you notice the blood looked incredibly weird and bright and fake? It didn't look
like paint,
like poster paint.
It just looked like poster paint. Yeah. In terms of other characters as well, there's a bit of a almost like love triangle going on there with the main character, his girlfriend, who's like got to be some sort of psychology major.
She meditates to pop songs like that.
Yeah, no one does that.
You can't meditate to someone crooning about fishing. Like,
what's the obsession with that song?
I know.
Oh, I suppose you only got one tape. We'll have to get it listened to.
She probably does the when she meditates. She puts like a finger and thumb together and lifts them upwards as well, across legs. She gets really into it.
She does like absolute textbook meditation, and then she's got her mate who is like really overtly trying to shag her boyfriend,
and also she hates getting her hair complimented.
Even though that's a big thing.
Like, fuck off. Get over it.
She gives that family like the disposable murder family who are in the thing. The daughter turns around and goes, "Oh, I like your hair," and she goes, "Oh, I like your hair." Like,
yeah, I'll fucking like.
Please, Marge, I don't take compliments very well.
Yeah, that disposable murder family is weird, especially like the son.
Oh, when you have classic sibling banter, it's like, I hate it when you eat with your mouth open. I hate it when you talk with your mouth open. I'll be a ventriloquist then, shall I?
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
another dude. There's another dude as well, like a gun nut guy.
Yeah, also another suspect that gets set up.
Yeah, when they announce him, they're like, okay,
It's just a
tell me.
conspiracy theory guy.
Yeah, the guy who
Yeah.
we are introduced to listening to the radio where there is a quiz show about the question on the quiz is like pointless, and it's like things associated with the army, and like the person on the radio goes, hats. And he's like, no, like M16s, Uzi 9mm, big old aeroplanes.
Napalm, Agent
Napalm.
Orange. He's definitely masturbating when he said all these things. He's an
Yeah.
absolute horny gun nut.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then there's obviously the dude in the background of your picture as well, Luke, who's such a cool, unique guy that he even says at one point to a character, just think of me as a normal guy. Don't worry about what I'm wearing. An earring and sunglasses. I'm just a normal everyday guy.
That's what he says to Crazy Ralph when he's talking about you and your acid rain. He's like, no, just think of me as a normal man that's dressed like an absolute lunatic.
Dressed like a clown, he says at one point. Imagine a guy with a costume. It's like, oh, shut up.
But he's
God,
nice, and he
yeah.
gets into the fishing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Is
so
the first person to die? Is it the mum of the family?
It's the mom of the family who leaves the restaurant there and says, well, fine, I am going to go to my sister's. But instead of going there, she walks around on the docks like going, caw, caw.
Yeah.
Yeah, she got like a little bird finding whistly thing. Is that what she's got? Or is she just doing the sound? I can't remember.
She has got a bird whistle, but she is like going the noise before.
In this disposable murder family, the dad is an absolute nutbox, right? He is fuming at every turn. And at one point, some guy does a nice thing for him, like gives him something for free and gives his son like.
Yeah, he gives his son the Chekhov's metal finder.
Yeah.
And he gives his son Chekhov's metal finder, and he goes, oh, can you break 100 for like 20p's worth of bait or whatever? And he goes, I'll just give you it.
And then he leaves, like, even though he's given him two things, he just leaves like, bloody weirdo.
That little metal detector thing. So it's I think it's called a stud finder or something. Yeah, and he's like, look, so I can look through my wood panels and I can find it with this little thing. And I can see it. I can see the stud. You don't need the little magnet.
When I get one of them, I hold it up to myself and I go, found a stud. And just rip my shirt open. And everyone hates it.
Yeah, but it won't.
It's never
made
worked.
of metal.
It's never
Found
worked
a stud.
once.
Oh, I didn't.
Found
actually.
a stud. Oh, fuck it. It didn't go off. But both my nipples are pierced. I don't know.
Yeah. Found a stud, and people go, oh, what a surgeon. No, I do need to go to the hospital. There's been a piece of metal violently inserted into
I've
me.
eaten too much fish. I've got metal deposits in my body. Help.
It's
I've got
working its way.
shrapnel in my chest.
It's working its way to my heart like Tony Stark. I need an arc reactor putting in.
Get me an art reactor now.
Yeah, I mean,
so yeah, these kills are all pretty much the same as well, aren't they? Especially the early kills, where someone's somewhere and the hook kind of drops either in front of them or on them, and then they get tugged off.
It looks like. So the CV looks like it looks like it's just like Velcro, like the hook. You don't see the hook going into them, or it's like a Velcro fixed into them, and they get pulled off the dock onto the water. But it always looks like they're not actually being pulled into the water, but like they're jumping in. Me and Kat play a game around the pool where we pretend to shoot each other, pretend to like throw a grenade at each other, and you're supposed to act like something's happened and then fall into the pool. Like you get shot. And then you go, and you fall in. This looked like I'd gone, pretend I've like wrapped you up with a fishing rod and then yanked you into the pool.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's like it's not convincing at all. I'm afraid to say.
It's not. And
we get more hook action later, but the first one, I don't think you even really see the hook on the mom. She just kind of spins round as if attacked by a phantom hook. A bit like the granddad, who we didn't see get hooked either in the past. Yeah. She sort of spins round and then just drops into the water.
You got to be pretty shit hot as well with a fishing rod in order to like throw it and get someone with it and then yank them. Like I think a lot of people
fishing rod. Yeah,
like casting out is like. I mean, I've
What's the like famous pool player called?
Ronnie O'Sullivan.
You need to be
pool player.
the Ronnie
Snooker,
O'Sullivan.
snooker.
The Ronnie O'Sullivan of fishing.
He's the LeBron James of fishing, this motherfucker.
The Michael Jordan of rods.
Yeah,
Yeah.
of rods, and you got a metal plate in your head as well. So that's a.
Is there a fisherman that we? Is it
famous
Robson or
fisherman?
Jerome? Isn't Robson or Jerome a fisherman? They do
Bob.
fishing things.
Do you get
What was that
famous
fishing?
fishing? I bet you do in America. I bet
Rex Hunt.
Rex Hunt.
Yeah, Rex Hunt's a fisherman.
What's the name of that guy who's like really clumsy? I remember watching.
Bob
The
Mortimer.
mothers do have him. Frank Spencer.
No, like a real fisher. I can't remember what his name is, but I used to watch. I think his name's Bob.
Mortimer.
Bob something, not Bob Mortimer though. Although Bob Mortimer and Paul Whitehouse doing
Is
fishing
fishing, and he is clumsy.
good. It's Bob something, and I used to watch compilations on YouTube of him. He's a really clumsy fisherman. I'll try and find it and show you. So clumsy that you're like, this can't be real. There's one bit where like he picks up a bucket, and I think he doesn't realize it's as heavy as it is, and the bucket like just leads him into the pool, into the not the pool, into the lake. What's his name? Bill. It might be Bill. I want to say
Bill
Bill
Fisherman.
Dance. Bill Dance. What the fuck? Bill Dance. A massive shadow of a cat just went across the wall just there. And that was terrifying. His name's Bill Dance. If you can find, he's a
Bill
famous
Dance.
angler, host of Bill Dance Outdoors. If you can find any bloopers of Bill Dance, it's always a good time. I think he walks behind like a truck at one point, doesn't realize there's the what's the thing called where you like hook on a boat or something on the back of a truck, and
If
he
you type
walks
in
in-
Bill Dance, the first thing that comes up is Bill Dance bloopers.
I'm not saying do it now because we're recording a podcast, but
I've
get-
done it. He's got a hook in his nose.
yeah. And there's one bit where a tree he's presenting to the camera, and a tree just falls onto him and his boat, and it snaps his rod in half.
Oh well, this is the rest of my evening sorted after we finish here. see what Bill Dance has been up. Do you see? This is the beauty of doing this podcast, guys. We talk about how this film was an obscure choice, but look at the great world it's opened up to us.
I just remembered he always says, "Gosh darn it, god dang nabbit." He always says that. There's one bit where he's got loads of expensive rods like in the back of a pickup truck, and I think he forgets he's got them in there, and he just slams the pickup truck like closed, and it breaks all his rods in half. And he goes, "God dang nabbit, $700."
in old money as well.
I know.
Back in the world of Bloodhook, after Mom's been hooked off, this is where we meet Bev D. We already met her. She gave a man a hat earlier on, but she meets the guys again when she's out for a run, and this is where we see a kid that's just been left in a cage in the garden. And then they go and listen to she invites them round, they listen to some music together. This is when she also invites one of the guys out for, just casual half dozen miles with her later on when she's on run 2 of the day.
Run 2. She loves it. She loves running.
And then
Like-
the other guys go. She does some weights in the garden, which is when her kid gets hooked. But sorry, Ben, you were
yeah.
saying how much she loves running.
She loves running, and her kid gets hooked. First of all, his little inflatable rubber ring gets hooked, which is, you're never going to be able to, you have to find and fix the puncture, which is always difficult.
Yeah, put your ear to it.
And it's a proper little kid as well, you know what I mean? Like, imagine trying to get this little kid to act in this movie.
Who had to really hook him?
Because he's crying. I always think
Method
that
acting.
when a kid's crying in a film, I'm like, someone's gone up to him and gone,
Mm.
Santa's not fucking real.
Yeah.
Just gone up and give him a dead leg.
Santa's dead, all right? And that bike you want for Christmas, scrapped. Now cry.
Did you, I mean, I don't know kids very well, but do they have to just, will a kid like cry several times a day and they're like, we just have to wait 10 minutes?
Yeah, kids cry over nothing.
Possibly, yeah. Or maybe they just like
Give it 5 minutes.
off camera, they've just got their mum just
Punching the
with
mum.
a gun to her head. Punching the mum, giving the mum a dead leg. You like that, do you? You like that? You like that?
Yeah. Kids will just cry. We were sitting here on the train the other day, and this kid was livid because he wasn't allowed to take the lid off all of his felt tips at the same time. He was desperate to do it. And his dad was having none. He said, no, take the lid off just one at a time. Sorry, Dad, I'm throwing you under the bus. It was bad parenting because he kept saying, don't take more of the lids off, but the kid did it. He was taking all the lids off. He was scribbling on a piece of paper with a fistful of felts, just doing like a big scribble. Fistful of felts. But when the dad put his foot down and said, no, I'll let you get away with 9, but 10 lids off is too many, he was kicking off.
They'll dry out.
Yeah. I knew the problem, Ben. I was on board. I was on the dad's side.
I'm on the kid's side.
That's why I got up and
Sometimes-
said,
I'm on the
mate,
kid's side, yeah.
your dad, he has to be nice to you. He's told you just to take one of those fucking lids. If I see a second lid off, mate, I'm not going to be responsible. I will throw you off this train. He had a cry.
Yeah, and then you get the camera out, ready to roll.
Yeah, hook him.
Hook him.
The one thing I noticed as well, this is, sorry, slightly off topic here, but the girlfriend of the main character, who was always analysing and...
Hot Toddy, yeah.
Hot Toddy.
Hot Toddy, yeah.
She looked like, no disrespect to her, sorry, you're not going to enjoy this. She looked like Martin Short. I just kept thinking, that's Martin Short. That's Martin Short with like these little lightning bolt earrings in.
With a Shazam earring. She's part of the Marvel family.
I was Googling it to see if she was related to Martin Short because I was like, it's so... There was a moment where she was like staring like at one of the characters. I was like, that's Martin Short. What's going on here? What is going on? And even this screenshot here of her looks like Martin Short. I'm just gonna share it with you guys.
Change your background.
I don't know if I can change my background. But yeah, Martin Short through and through. Actually, let's do it. What have we got to lose? Obviously, if you're listening to this, you just have to imagine. Just Google Martin Short and then Google, what was the name?
Hot Toddy.
Don't just Google Hot Toddy. But
her name in the film is actually...
Can you see? I can't see very well.
Oh no, she looks like your chair.
Oh
yeah, I see it.
Her name is Anne in the.
It's not the best in the picture, but yeah, definitely a touch, at least a touch, of the Martin Shorts about her.
Yeah, I can see it. Hang on a sec. Let me show you this.
There we go. Is it actually Martin Short? That's what you're going to put as your background now. Actual Martin Short, and say, look at this.
Yeah.
But yeah, so she's like, she's always analyzing people and sort of doing, oh yeah. That's the perfect picture. That looks pretty much identical to her.
She was in Canada, like Martin Short clearly is here.
So she's like analyzing people, giving people pop psychology, saying, well, why did you make that decision? It's a bit, I mean, I guess you're supposed to dislike her in a way, I suppose, or at least not feel as bad when her friend starts making moves on.
Starts cracking on to Peter all the time. She goes, oh, I've always wanted. She does this a few times because Peter wants to be a music man as well as inherit his granddad's fishing legacy.
Perfect pitch hearing, hasn't he?
Yeah.
So
he's got perfect pitch hearing and a Casio
and a Casio keyboard.
And a Casio
You're ready to take on the world.
In many ways, he's like the main character from He-Man Masters of the Universe, not He-Man, the film, where he's a keyboarder.
Yeah. So, but she likes.
Why is he carrying around that Casio as well? Like
he's. I mean, I think it's just so he can teach us what a tritone is and what intervals are.
Isn't it? Yeah. It's like, how can we insert this into the plot and have it make sense? Without...
Because they go over it for quite a while, don't they? About intervals.
He does a brief lecture about it.
Yeah.
So his girlfriend is like had a guts full of him going on about music, and she's just like, "Oh, if you're gonna be a musician, just be a musician. Stop talking about it." Whereas the friend is more like, "Oh, wow, that's really interesting. Oh, you're so smart and so talented."
I want to get back into shagging musicians. Oh, okay.
Yeah, but he is, in terms of you could say he is a main character, but he's pretty much useless, right?
Doesn't do much.
I don't know. He does more. He does more of the sheriff's work than the sheriff does.
He does figure out like what causes the killer to go loopy. And he does find an ear, the biggest clue.
And he
later
eats
on.
it.
And that's what he needs for the sheriff to do anything, because the first person has gone, little boy's been hooked and then has been carried out of the film.
But no bodies have been found. This is key to it, obviously.
That's
why the sheriff has no interest in trying to find this killer, because he's like, everyone's missing at this current stage.
Yeah.
And he's also like, there hasn't been a murderer here for 17 years or whatever. He's basically the mayor from Jules, and where he's just like, nothing's gonna get in the way of this fishing competition. People go missing or not. Everyone loves it. Everyone's enjoying it. Shut up until it's over.
The next person that gets got, and this is where they ask the sheriff to look, is Luke's former background, who was just a nice, normal man who was interested in music and so on. He's really got into the fishing lifestyle, and he ends up going fishing on his own because their other friend is out on a 6-mile run with Bev D and then doing some sit-ups.
Is it really a 6-mile run?
She says, let's go for half a dozen miles.
Can you imagine? Because he is cracking onto her. And they are having a first date of sorts. Can you imagine doing that?
Do the 10K.
And
Just
do a
casual 10K.
Casual 10K where you're trying to
do hill by the looks of it as well.
Trying to pull your best moves out as well. Tell me a bit about yourself. I will in a minute. I will. Have you got any gel? Hair gel?
Little water station as you go past. If you don't make the throw and get the cup in the bags they put out, the big hippo bags, marks you down.
So here on Wikipedia it says the movie's 92 minutes long. What version did we watch then? Because we watched the 3-hour epic, didn't we?
The Snyder cut.
We watched the Snyder cut of Bloodhook, where they're like, "Do you know that killer? Yeah. Do you think he's gonna get cool? Yeah. Not yet. Not quite yet."
Spoilers for him, but he doesn't anyway.
He doesn't anyway. Why have they done that? Have they tried to leave it open for a potential sequel?
Oh, I think so. With the guy hunting for him.
No one cares enough today. No, sorry guys, everyone involved, but my God,
never know. They reboot everything these days.
Yeah,
you're gonna get. It's just gonna be called Bloodhook, but it's gonna take. It's gonna be following the events of this one.
Horror news next week that with like a Jason Blum has announced that they are releasing Blumhook.
But then when people talk about reboots and they say, it's always the good things that get rebooted. Why is no one out there rebooting bad things? It's like, because no one wants to see them. That's why no one's out there campaigning for Bloodhook to be remade. People
Chad
want
Lutzke is.
Chad Lutzke is. yeah. Him and his crew of one. But yeah, that's the reason, isn't it? Because it's rare that there's a remake of something that didn't do so well that suddenly does well. Is it? Am I just putting that out there? I'm sure there are plenty of examples, but still.
Yeah, if you got any examples of that, write in. Otherwise, Bloodhook, we're ready for it to be the first one.
Yeah.
Is this when, so making sure we've checked off all these, because we need to make sure we've covered a sufficient number of murders before the killer's revealed. So after his friend, the music man, his death is fairly uneventful. He's fishing on his own. He gets hooked. We actually see the hook this time. It gets him in the tum, and then it pulls him off.
He kind of rolls onto it, but I still don't understand how you could. I mean, okay, let's just say you've got a really good hook. You're really good at throwing hooking. It gets right into the skin of someone. You can't wind an entire human in, can you? I don't think it works like that.
Especially a human, because we have hands and stuff. You go, this is going to be sore. Obviously, it's going to come sharp.
Yeah,
probably going to be a bit poorly after this time, but I can get this hook out. I'm not just going to be pulled into the water to my death.
Yeah, I mean, I guess if the handle, the lever was big enough, you could probably pull a human. Yeah. I guess, but you'd need. I don't know.
The thing about humans,
small with a baby.
I'll cut this. Yeah. I'll cut this string. Will I?
Yeah.
Because when you're fishing, you're gonna have a knife with you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, I'm sure you can just take it out. Yeah.
And I think the kills need to be a bit more varied, a little bit more brutal, I guess, just slightly. Something a little bit.
If
different.
You saw the hook pulling along someone's stomach, and we actually saw that gore, I think it would have been way more effective. But like people turn away from the camera and they go and they're kind of
They
holding
grab
it
something.
against
They
them.
grab something and cover it as if
Yeah.
it's a little.
Or
bit,
like you said, Luke, make it full Mortal Kombat vibes. Make the blood hook a big rusty harpoon, and like really stick
that
him
could
with
actually
it.
be quite good in the remake that's going to come out pretty soon. If it's an actual harpoon gun that flies out of nowhere, just sends people
straight through
off.
someone's head.
Yeah.
Properly hook them.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah, it just needed something. It just felt a bit repetitive. It felt like between kills, it was all
Bloodhook takes
stuff.
Manhattan, and it's just a crane, just a crane operator pulling people off the ground.
I'll tell you what, guys, pitch. You've seen Blood Hook, right? Blood hooks, and then quickly the S is a dollar sign, and it is basically a triple threat match. So your famous hook users, you've got your original Blood Hook from this sentient hook, then Candyman, obviously famous hook user, and then the fisherman from I know he did last time. What if he was behind it?
Captain Hook.
Captain Hook, he could be there. Fatal four way
hookies.
Blood hooks.
Yeah, the blood hooks.
And they're a gang. They're a criminal gang that's been put together. They've met in prison. They're all out at it again.
I'll tell you what.
Sinister Six. I think the hook is not a fishing hook, but a proper hook is quite a brutal weapon. Like in I know we did last summer. I always feel really bad when people get hooked because it goes like into the rib cage.
Yeah.
Oh, I tell you, have you ever seen The Last King of Scotland?
No.
Oh my god, speaking of horror moments in films,
people getting hooked.
There's a bit near the end of that I nearly fainted watching, and you don't see anything, but it's the sound and the suggestion of what's happening to James McAvoy. I can't wait. I'm never going to be able to watch that again. It's absolutely brutal, disgusting, and I recommend you watch it.
But you won't ever again.
Yeah, that's in terms of blood hook. That's the
ultimate blood.
That's the ultimate.
If I now watch Last King of Scotland and then James McAvoy just goes, well, I've heard in Wisconsin there's a fishing competition. Now I've become the last king of Scotland. The only ambition left for me is to go and
win Musky Madness.
Yeah,
it's a good film by the way as well. So
he's been got. The guy goes and calls the sheriff and says, I reckon it's that gunman, he's a lunatic. He was talking about blowing people away. He's probably a murderer. Arrest him. He goes, I'm not going to arrest him because I don't like doing my job.
Everybody in this film throws around like threats like they're nothing. I'm going to blow him away. I'm going to blow you away. I'm going to kill you. I'm going to kill you. It's like, God, calm down, everybody.
The next victim is the dad from the Disposable Murder family. He's out listening to his Tim Westwood CDs in the on the lake. He's just, some would say he's doing it because his engine is broken and he's caught out on the lake, but it isn't, because he's just blowing his air horn out there. He's out on the lake going,
I don't think is he trying to kind of blow himself across the lake with the air horn as if it's a propulsion system. He
uses it in the water.
You need to put it in the water, mate.
I'll get you going.
But that sound is not the sound you want to make. I think that kind of the cicadas start rubbing their thighs. Ooh, all sexy like.
Makes the devil's tritone. And he gets blood hooked, doesn't he?
Gets bloody blood hooked.
Yeah, I can't really remember what happens to him. I think does he get in his head?
He gets blood. He gets blood hooked. Does he jump in the water? No, that's the next guy that jumps in the water. But he gets awed maybe, but we don't see it. Like basically, he's been blood hooked and he's gone. Because right now this film takes a tonal shift. We see more of the gore and things a bit later on, but mostly for this portion, until a sufficient number of kills have been made, we just see the people get blood hooked and pulled into the water.
Yeah.
Up until a sufficient number of kills have been made. I guess there's a central mystery, but I just don't know if I find it all that interesting. And also, like, where do you stand on this being? Because obviously it tries to. There's a central mystery, but then there's also a central theme of veterans getting forgotten by society, isn't there? There's the gun nut dude who kind of talks about it a lot, and then obviously this particular character Leroy, who I guess are we gonna reveal now that he's the killer based on that? That's how the film reveals it. The film just goes, it was another Blood death, but this time we're gonna show you who's killing it. It's Leroy.
Yeah,
How it reveals it pretty much.
Isn't it weird? Because then it shows the people figuring it out afterwards.
Yeah.
But we've already seen it.
So
Yeah.
I
So
was
then
kind of thinking it was going to be another red herring, or like it looked like he was getting hooked, and then it looked like at one point he was helping him off the boat, and I thought, oh, maybe he's stopping him getting blood hooked. He's helping him, and then he just jams something in his neck, and I'm like,
grabs
okay,
a knife in his gob and strings him up like a kipper. But before that, we saw him in his bait shop, just going mad, a bit like Grandad did, grasping his head.
Yeah.
And I thought, is he possessed by the ghost of someone?
Yeah.
It's not that.
Yeah.
It's not that at all.
It's not. So yeah. So obviously, one key plot point is that he is a veteran. He was in a Korean War, and
Shot in the head.
he's got shot in the head. Yeah. So
Yeah.
obviously, there's a plot point here where they're saying because he's a veteran, he got shot in the head. PTSD has turned him into a bloody bloodhooker.
He seems like a really nice guy, other than this though.
Yeah,
other than the
yeah.
blood hook bits.
He gives that man some minnows, but quite a lot of them have been shot because a black-haired man that's had his hair sprayed grey, Wayne, he shot.
That's how you describe him.
He shot Grandad from the original. He'd shot him in the back.
Granddad, what from Only Fools and Horses?
Yeah, he'd shot Grandad in the back. He'd shot Grandad in the back, but he'd actually given him a job. Good, no, that's sound. I don't mind that you shot me. I'm still going to be your best mate.
Yeah. So doesn't he say, "Oh, I even was willing to pay for the"?
To get the bullet out, he goes, "Nah, leave it in. It'll be all right."
Nah, leave it and it'll be all right. I like it. It's part of me. You know, I mean,
Actually,
going through
tell you what,
customs is going to be a bit difficult.
My back was a bit wonky on that side. Having this bullet in has really evened it out.
It sorted me out, but you better get me an arc reactor if things go south.
Yeah, if it starts working its way to my heart, do get me an arc reactor, please.
Do get me an arc reactor, yeah.
He doesn't need to because Grandad got blood hooked earlier, so it's fine.
Lucky Grandad. So yeah, when we see Leroy doing after he's killed this dude, he just starts grinding him up.
Yeah.
Quite an extensive mulching scene, right?
To what end though? Is he just making like bait or?
I guess he's making him into
chum or something.
Making him into musky bait, and then he puts the rest of him.
Yeah, because he always wins the.
Oh yeah, that's right. He always wins the.
And I think it's because he has the premium bait, which is weird actually, because they also say the cicadas only come out once every 17 years. Is that a real thing? I don't know. So he only starts killing people once every 17 years.
Is it like Pennywise or something? 17 instead of 27.
Yeah.
I think he just got confused because he's a bit lonely. He's like, I'd like a chum. I'd like a chum around here. And he's Googled it and he's gone, oh, just load of mulch stuff. All right, fair enough.
Yeah. Before this has been killed, before this kill, also just to make sure we've definitely covered sufficient numbers, Bev D has been hooked off.
Yeah.
So how did she get hooked? Did she just fall in the water?
They all got hooked in the same way. We can't differentiate. We can't differentiate. They went, it's a hook.
They got hooked in the same way. And the friend who doesn't like people complimenting her hair did get hooked, but she's fine. She escaped.
Crispy hair. Oh, crispy hair.
Yeah, crispy hair.
If you get a naked flame near that hair.
Ooh. Yeah. She got hooked off a lilo but swam away.
Okay.
She had all that living in a city had given her one survival instinct that none of the other victims had. It's like if someone tries to hook you, just go away.
Just go away. Yeah.
Get out of here. I don't want to be killed. I'm not in a mood.
Don't put us on a string and leave us under the dock, because that's where the others are. So that's where several of the victims are there with big boggly eyes, all swollen up under the water on a big string.
Yeah.
This is all right. That bit is.
Yeah. I mean, it's quite gruesome. Their eyes are very big, like unnaturally big. They don't look like waterlogged either. They just look like they've got big eyes.
They're like Disney characters.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
It's quite creepy. There's something odd about it, isn't there? I think that's what makes it creepy. A bit thriller. A bit
I
thriller
was thinking
zombies.
thriller.
Yeah.
So now we know who the killer is. Now it's time for the characters to spend 15 to 20 minutes working out who the killer is, right? I feel they're talking about, because the kids come around and they're like, the kids, he's used a nut bolt finder on the guy's head, so he knows there's something in his head.
There's a metal in there. Yeah, so basically they work it out together. So Peter, the music man, having just phoned the police and said, actually, it's my mate that's the murderer. Because Bev's dead. I know it. My mate's the murderer, and then moments later finds his mate's ear because his mate has had his ear off before he. This is the one that's just been all stabbed and strung up like a kipper. So he goes, "Oh, actually, I found his ear. I'd recognise it anywhere." So I feel really bad now. He's not the murderer. So him and the gun guy have come up with a theory together about the devil's tritone with the music. The music, that crooning about fishing, if that's combined with the noise of the cicadas, that might be sufficient to set off someone if they had a metal plate in their head. And then the kid turns up and goes, "Oh, that fella's got a metal plate in his head. I detected it with the stud detector, with Chekhov's stud detector here."
Yeah, and not surreptitiously either. That kid's like shoving that stud detector right in his head.
Next to his head with it. Yeah.
Okay, and then they're essentially to the audience, they're saying, "Look, now we've found the killer. Aren't you surprised?" And we're like, "No, we've just seen him kill some people like 20 minutes ago." So in terms of like story pacing, that's really the wrong way around to do that.
Yeah.
But we're steamrolling towards the end now. We're barreling towards the end as fast as that lift that comes down the side of the hill. Extremely excruciatingly slowly.
So slow. It's like, it's like, I think, at what point does the killer get revealed? In this version, an hour and 10 minutes in, maybe?
It's later than that, I think.
Oh, okay.
I thought it was like an hour and 20.
It definitely felt like there was a lot left. The thing is, as soon as the killer is revealed, it feels like there's not much more to do. But the film, for some reason, seems to take a long time to do it, especially at one point when it just seems to wait for like a whole night.
Yeah, everyone has a different plan here, though, because Bev, the actual girlfriend, not the one that really wants to get back into having sex with musicians, who has escaped, she gets hooked off. She's doing some meditating and then gets hooked, and she calls the very slow lift but gets captured long before it can arrive. But the killer puts her in the cupboard in his thing. She's, "Oh, so you want to kill me? You really want to do this? Well, I guess you do. If you can live with that, then I guess I can. I'm an adult. I can get by." And she gets stored in his cupboard she literally gets fridged.
I kind of like it. It feels a bit meta in a way, doesn't it? In terms of a victim, almost trying to reason with the killer, where it's just like, "Come on, mate, do you want to do a murder, or we can just go get some chicken wings somewhere if you fancy it?" And he's just like constantly going about his business.
"Oh, I'm mad. I've got a metal plate in my head, and the cicadas are making me absolutely do that." Like, he goes, "Oh, well, fair enough."
It's such a mad concept, isn't it? Like, okay, war veteran, plate in his head, been shot in his head, he's a killer. Okay, I got it. But then also these elements, music makes him nuts. It's
funny, isn't it? Like,
we had enough at the start in terms of
one man's hero, another man's villain. So it depends when you live. If you live by a fishing lake, you are, prone to fishing, crooning, and cicadas turning you into a bloodhooker. You live somewhere else. You live in the forests of Maine. Tommyknockers turn up. You're immune from it. You're the hero of that piece.
Yeah,
metal plate in your head.
Yeah,
you'll fly that spaceship up into there and you'll blow it up, saving Bobby and everyone else.
Yeah.
Then Tommyknockers come knocking at the door. You ain't listening with a metal plate in your head.
No. Yeah.
Not this
So,
fella, though.
so after this, the main character does decide to basically go and save the girl, and I was confused by this, but I don't know how if I've got it right.
I think
He-
he thinks the girl's dead. I think he just wants vengeance for his granddad, and he
But
starts he has like a sort of a montage, but
Yeah,
it's
he
not
gets
a
Wayne to
montage.
train him, right? He goes,
Yeah.
"Oh,
And he's just
what's the last
throwing
name?"
his
It's
rod
like
into the thing.
your name is Tom. What's the last name?
Van Cleese.
Van Cleese. He's like, "No, don't call me Van Cleese yet. I have
haven't
not
earned
yet
that name."
earned that
But
name."
then we expect like a hero's moment, or like a rising, like a phoenix from the flames
Yeah,
moment. Or also there's a moment where he pictures his girlfriend saying to him, "You never make noise, do you?" And he's
Yeah,
like,
she said
"I'll
that to him earlier.
and then he's like, "I'll show you making noise." And then it cuts to the next morning.
yeah.
Well, then
Wait,
he has his
I'll show you
blood
tomorrow.
hook off. Oh no,
Yeah.
because the next morning the bad fisherman has won the fishing competition, and Wayne, the grey-haired, black-haired man, turns up with a shotgun to go, "He's a murderer. I'm going to kill him."
I'm
The
gonna
sheriff
kill him.
goes,
They
"No,
go, "Not
don't-
now." He says, "Not
don't-
now.
Yeah,
Not
not
right
now,
in this
Bernard."
moment.
Yeah, the sheriff's like, "Oh, he hasn't done any murders," and he goes, "That isn't very friendly." He goes, "Oh, murders aren't very friendly," and the
Yeah.
sheriff just lets him get away.
It just feels incompetent. I feel like this plot of this at this point is as incompetent as the characters, where it doesn't know how to finish the film. It doesn't know how to draw a line under it. It doesn't know how to give it a satisfying ending. So it just kind of like meanders around with like inconsequentially, and then eventually the killer just gets away.
Well, having won the fishing competition, the killer goes home and Pete's outside. He's waiting. He plays the music to make him insane, and he comes out to attack him, and they have a blood hook off.
Yeah.
Yeah, a blood hook off. What are you doing? I'm having a blood hook off. Give me a break.
Yeah. It's not, I mean, so what's his name? Peter, he gets hooked very, very quickly, even though he was the one who started. He should have been prepped, primed to go. But he did.
Yeah,
but
doesn't
to be fair, he's coming up against an expert.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the blood hooker
It's like,
prime, like one.
You could be
shots
training
him,
your whole
basically.
life. You could be training your whole life, and then suddenly you realize, oh, it's Mike Tyson. I got to fight. Bang, knocked out.
Yeah, true.
Done.
Yeah. So he does manage to get Leroy, but he gets him on his neck or something, and it comes away. Like it doesn't
take.
Yeah.
He's just
But
blood
then-
scratched, not blood hooked.
But then Leroy reduces Peter's HP all the way, and he kind of just collapses on the boat. He gives up, and then it cuts to them. He's been taken inside, but he was pretending to be dead.
Was he pretending to be dead so he could bring his stereo into the thing? He's like, "Oh, I'm knocked out, but I'm holding on onto my stereo."
I think so. Yeah. So
knocked out.
He's amazingly so. I mean, I would think if you were going to like play that to him, that's the thing that makes him go mental. I wouldn't expect it to like make him cower away. I would expect him to like start seeing red and like because he's got like a knife. He's like sharpening this knife, so it's going to go through that radio like it's butter.
Maybe he's got the right tones though. Maybe he's found the opposite tones to make him defeated, to lower his HP.
God's tritones.
Yeah, instead of the devil's. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, he uses God's tritones on him and like severely weakens him.
Yeah. Find his girlfriend in a cupboard. What are you doing in there? She falls out. It's like Scooby Doo. They start running, hiding in different cupboards. The guy's chasing them with a fishing hook.
And then he pretends to be like, an assistant at a fishing shop. "Oh, can I get you some new bait, fishing murderer?" And he's like,
yeah,
it's like,
murderer.
Yeah. They set him into a little trap, but then due to absolute clumsiness, fucking waz their ghetto blaster into the water, bust it.
Yeah, but I think I can't remember how it happens, but they still get away. Nothing happens to them.
Well, no, what happens is that like they break the music, and then it's like, well, I'm going to get you now. But then the police turn up. I'm guessing that Wayne has convinced them that that the other guy is bad, and the police have now come. But he's not uncontrollably insane. because when the police come, he has the wherewithal to do one.
Yeah.
And off he goes.
Yeah. And then there's a bit of a chase sequence at the end, but we don't see any of that. We just hear him grumbling like Bigfoot running away into the woods.
Yeah, it's just Wayne, the hero of the piece, the main character, kind of like sets up for his adventure. The sheriff goes, "Oh, he's bleeding. He's not going to survive out there. I need you to help me find him." And he goes, "You know these woods," and he goes,
Not as good
"I
as
do
he
know
does.
these woods, not as good as he does though." And he says, "Will you help me?" And he goes, "I'll do what
Best
I can."
I'll do what I can.
And then you just hear grrr from in the woods.
Blood Hook 2. Blood Hook in the woods. It's just a land-based
Oh, blood hook
fishing.
on land.
Sand sharks all over again. There we go.
And there we go. So I have some name game for you if you guys are ready.
Oh, I'm ready.
Oh yes. Oh yes.
The first one is about a delightful man, the delightful man who plays Ant-Man in the Marvel movie Ant-Man. When this guy gives you a hug, it's also known as climbing into the
Rud hug.
Rud hug.
well, I put Rudnook.
The
Rud
Rud
Nook.
nook. Okay,
Yeah.
good.
Nook,
Yeah.
That works.
Red hug works as well. So
Actually
this
hugs
next one
people, Rud.
is after a lifetime of trying to hunt and shoot Bugs Bunny, Elmer decides to write an autobiography. He calls it
Fud
Fud
book.
book.
Fud Book. Yeah, well done.
It's a good title.
Similarly, after a lifetime of cooking food that is not bad, Gordon Ramsay decides to write an autobiography. He
Good
calls
cook.
it Good Cook.
Good cook. Okay.
Really back to basics book there.
Good cook. Yeah.
Good cook. After a brain injury, he writes a book.
After he gets reduced to caveman mind.
Yeah, after he gets a metal plate put in his head and cicadas driving around the bends.
Oh, cook, good cook.
Good
Cook good. You cook good with Good Cookbook.
Wow.
I don't know if you guys have got any.
Off the top of the dome, a fishing
metal dome.
competition is ruined by some horrid vampires that come round slurping everyone up.
Blood. So it is blood.
Yeah, blood
Blood suck.
suck. Yeah, that's what vampires
That's
do.
sick. That's good. None for me, unfortunately. Sorry. Didn't prepare.
He's opting
Prepare-
out.
Failed to prepare. Prepare to fail.
All right, one more. An Australian person is a real whiner when they fall into some wet dirt and they get all covered in it. Sat in a big old puddle having a moan.
An Australian person.
Yeah, just because of the slang for what someone who's moaning and being a little malingerer about it is.
Oh, I don't know. I don't
Don't
really
know, yeah.
It's mud suck.
Is that what you
Mudsuck.
call?
Yeah,
someone who's
being a
sponsored?
suck if you're
Mud.
like, you know,
Oh,
like being a
didn't know
suck
that.
if you're all like ill and
Oh,
moaning.
stop being a mud suck.
Oh, being a
mate.
proper little
Ah.
suck.
This is
Oh.
okay, got one.
Oh, go on. Let's give him the time he needed.
This isn't a movie. This is kind of a movie, a bit boring. DIY enthusiasts go to the local DIY shop to find a type. I'm thinking the word to find a type of building material that would best suit their DIY needs. And they call the trip they're on the lookout for a certain material that they could use to build things.
Something look.
Yeah,
Look.
there's something look. I mean, if they're searching for
mate.
it thoroughly, if they're having a good look,
They're having a good look, but it's also a wood look.
a wood look.
Ah,
There you go.
oh,
wood
mate.
look.
I
That's
thought
the
it was look
sequel. That's the sequel to Wood Look, where he's looking for him in the forest.
Wood
The
look.
wood look.
Wood Look.
Where is he? That's him. Oh no, it's not. He's got a no. Got it. There we go.
The Wood Look.
That's that.
There you go.
Piss poor from me, sorry, but off the top of the dome.
No, Ben, that's don't
put yourself down.
apologize for that. That was good.
Speaking of that was good, we need to rate the film, either rate good or rate bad.
Rate good or rate bad.
Blood Hook or Blood
Suck.
Shit.
Yeah.
Blood shit. I think this film, sorry to jump in there. I think this film would have been a lot more enjoyable if it lost like 30 minutes. If it was like sure, we may have seen the director's cut. If it was like 85 to 90 minutes.
I think less than that.
Less than that. If it was 4
Half an
to
hour.
5 minutes
It was
long.
45 minutes long.
It was 45 minutes long. It'd been a lot more interesting.
4 to 5 minutes long. Then it would have been ideal.
It needed some variation in the kills. The killer reveal was a bit of a it was a bit underwhelming and kind of I was confused. I was like, hang on a minute, have I missed something?
You were confused and enraged.
In terms of some of the slasher movies that we've seen from this sort of era, Sleepaway Camp, Pieces, for example, a couple of the films we've reviewed on this podcast, it does not hold a candle to any of those in any way, unfortunately. I will give Blood Hook a D-.
Oh.
D for something. I'm trying to find a character's name that began with D. I can't see anyone. Patrick Danz.
D for Patrick Danz.
I was also going to give it a D- as well.
D-. Okay.
Yeah, I felt exactly the same way. I found myself really, 2 hours long is not. This film should not be 2 hours long. That's actually mental. I think we might have watched the Fisherman's Friend cut or something. Like it was. I don't know. 91 minutes. That's probably been a lot better.
Fisherman's Friend cut.
Yeah. I enjoyed some bit. I kind of enjoyed the Hook battle at the end, but there wasn't enough battling.
I didn't enjoy.
You need flighty battlers.
I don't mean to fly in there. I don't remember the Hook battle. I think I must have genuinely been dazed and confused at this particular moment because I don't remember any of it.
What about you, Andy?
Oh my goodness, I might have to join you on a D- as well for the same reasons. I think we've seen this summer camp, summer vibe slasher movie done more creatively. I do like, I'm going to say a positive about it. I kind of like the convoluted explanation that the metal plate in the head and the cicadas and I did like the devil's triangle. I like that, but I can't as easily forgive you're right. We wanted some more variety in those kills, and it showed the film was capable of it when he trussed up that guy and then he did the bits. But you can only have you can't get your quota for a sufficient number of kills before the killer can be revealed by exclusively pulling people off into the water. We needed some other things, like maybe one time the blood hook could come down and go around someone's neck and hang them, or scorpion them, or get them in different ways. There's more that you could do with that, and I don't think it would have been impossible to pull off. I think they lost a bit of imagination with that. So it's been done elsewhere. I am glad that I have seen it mostly, so but we don't really need to revisit it again.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
So
in the interest of completing it, we've done that bit now. That is a film that we have seen.
Completed it, mate. Okay, so next week we're doing The Lighthouse, which I'm
at last
very excited to watch. Although I'll say saying that it's disappeared from Netflix. It's been on Netflix for ages, and now it's disappeared.
There's your problem.
We've
let people know that we're watching it, so that's why things disappear from Netflix. When you announce that you're going to watch them, that's when they go.
Yeah, I don't know. I might get the Criterion disc. Just feel like I would enjoy it quite a bit.
Feels the right thing to do. I've not seen The Lighthouse.
Yeah. Yeah, we
go.
shall do
Looking
that.
forward to it. Official Robert Eggers fanboy Luke Condor in the house, and I will
We'll
have
see.
seen
If I hate it-
Northman by then.
Oh, lie, that's my shy house.
Well, the shite
Screw you, Eggers.
It's just about wanking and beans. I don't know if that's what it's about, so I've heard.
Wanking and beans. Sounds like, yeah, I like that kind of film. I like that subgenre. Okay, so thanks for listening. If you enjoyed today's episode, you can become a patron over at patreon.com/horror hangout. Thanks to our current patrons, Lane Spencer, John Crennan, who's also a host. He's dabbling, he's got 1 foot in each bathtub. I don't know what the phrase is. He does both. Ben
One
Scaife,
foot each bathtub.
who also has a
Yeah.
foot in each bathtub. Stephen Christopher, Toby Miller, Laura Kendrick, Scott Rigby, Ollie Child, Julia Bilgren, Leslie Carlo, and Pazuzu. Thanks very much. You can go to Patreon and get some bonus content, some free stuff, early access to episodes. And yeah, thanks to Kovac Cowan for our theme music. Thanks to Acast for hosting the show. Thanks to the listeners. Please consider rating and reviewing. And thanks to my co-hosts Ben and Andy for being right horror dudes.
Excellent.
Thank you very
Thanks,
much,
Ben.
guys. Absolute pleasure.